by Brent Fox. Um, I'll just briefly go over some boxing topics today, and I will discuss my Pittsburgh Steelers matchup with the Oakland Raiders. First and foremost, I am going to get to the undisputed bout between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol at 175 pounds, which is light heavyweight. This has been a matchup that I personally have been clamoring for quite some time. I am curious as to what actually happens when these two gentlemen, who are, by the way, undefeated, enter the ring to be the undisputed king of light heavyweight. I've pretty much had an interest at the 175-pound class ever since I think Roy Jones had actually been fighting in that weight class. Um, and there have been some great champions and also some pretty good fighters that I was a big fan of, like Bad Chad Dawson, who wound up fighting Andre Ward. And I think he also fought Bernard Hopkins. That ended controversially. And then, and then of course, you had, you had Kovalev and shoot, who else am I thinking of? Um, oh yeah, my guy from Canada. Oh my goodness, I got his face in my mind, and I'm blanking out. It's gonna come back to me. But unfortunately, he was gonna fight my guy. Now I'm going blank all of a sudden. Anyway, the point is that there were a lot of fighters that I look forward to, that I enjoyed watching at the 75 pound light heavyweight division. Of course, Andre Ward fought Kovalev twice, and pretty much ended Kovalev's reign as a very dominant champion in that weight class. Um, I do believe that Ward did win that first fight, even though it was controversial. Yes, Kovalev did get a knockdown in the second round, but I believe that Andre Ward pretty much used inside fighting tactics and just overall boxing smarts to just kind of wear down Kovalev the first fight. And then the second fight, he just effectively finished what he started in the first one. Um, he used very calculated and targeted attacks to Kovalev's midsection, and unfortunately, Kovalev could not hold up, and it ended in a technical knockout. I think that was one of the more um, awesome displays of body work that I've seen here recently. And when I'm saying recently, I mean like within a decade. So yeah, and I think that was Ward's last fight, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it was thoroughly impressive. Now, excuse me. Badu Jack is who I was thinking about. Badu Jack, and then I am still not getting my guy from Canada. Um, anyway, it's gonna come back to me, and I'm just randomly say it, just like I said, Badu Jack randomly. Hey, Soul Power, man, what's happening, brother? Thank you for swinging by, man. I appreciate the support, brother. Hope all is well with you. I'm just talking about B-Vol versus Beta BL. So yeah, let me go ahead and get to the subject here. Now, as far as this particular matchup at 175 pounds, um, oh no, not Adonis Stevenson. It was oh man, what was my guy who got busted for the PEDs. Um, he got busted for the PEDs, like, and he was supposed to fight, I think, on one of Floyd's undercards or something like that. He lost to Kovalev twice. Um, but he had a very slick but explosive fighting style. Um, shoot, oh man, what is It'll come to me, bro. It'll come to me. But anyway, and it's not Anthony Yard either. This guy's from Canada. Um, but dang, that's gonna make me think about it all night. I gotta keep going. All right, so so basically, this matchup between Beterbiev and Bivol is a very interesting one to me because their fighting styles are a lot more similar than what people think. Now, I know that generally people think that Artur Beterbiev is some come forward, blood and guts fighter who just throws shots, and once they land, they crush people and all of that. But if you're actually just reviewing fights, especially like the Anthony Yard fight, um, he also had a very good fight against, excuse me, Lucas Brown, I believe. Not Lucas Brown, but um, last name is Brown. At 175, he wound up coming back by systematically breaking Brown down until his body just could not handle the punishment anymore. I think that a lot of people, Jean Pascal, thank you, Soul Power, thank you, Soul Power. Yeah, it was Jean Pascal, thank you. Um, but yeah, he systematically broke down Brown and just, I mean, at the towards the end of the fight, it was just very destructive. But he did that by effectively using his jab, even though Brown was a southpaw. And for my boxing heads out there, y'all know how difficult it is to try to get an effective jab landed on a southpaw because of their stance. And then on top of that, sometimes their fighting style provides a lot of problems as far as being able to set up a jab on them so you can get your right hand off. Um, but yeah, I systematically Beterbiev was able to establish a jab later on in the fight, and then that actually set up the more damaging punches like the excuse me, like the right uppercuts and the right hooks, things of that nature. Um, but yeah, he he was able to effectively line that jab up, and I think that's sorely underestimated as far as just being able to do that against a southpaw. First and foremost, if you're trying to establish a jab on anybody, the old school rule of thumb is to make sure that your lead foot, which is going to be the foot that you put in front, is going to be just outside of their lead foot, and then you're able to just use that particular angle to try to land your shots. That is very difficult to do with a very good southpaw. So even though it's kind of like an underestimated type thing or something that flies under the radar, it's something to be noted because you have to be able to be very skilled, and skill is built from like working in the gym over and over again. Natural talent is something that's God given. So being able to use positioning as a skill to help beat Brown is something that I definitely recognize as someone who really appreciates the art of boxing. Um, and then him just kind of being able to endure a gruesome cut that was like in the middle of his forehead and have enough psychological and also mental perseverance to keep going. That says a lot about his character and his willingness to endure and try to get the job done. Bivol is gonna have his hands full with somebody with that type of mentality. I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, and then there were situations to where he's Beterbiev is actually able to maybe calculate how he can use his punches to kind of affect people at certain times. If you look at the Joe Smith Jr. fight that Beterbiev actually had, he was able to have kind of lure Joe Smith into like a firefight, and then when the time was actually right, he hit him with a well-timed right hand. That was not that was just not a lucky punch or something that he threw and it just landed. No, he actually calculated that as far as Joe Smith Jr. walking in on it. I think that that type of skill set needs to be recognized. Beterbiev is not just some brawler that's actually just going to come in there swinging and then keep getting hit like a like a Rocky film, and just overcome the guy and win. I think that he's a little bit, well, he's a lot more calculating than that. What's up, Joe? Hey, Jared, salute, brothers. Thank y'all so much for coming in, man. I appreciate y'all. Just talking about the matchup and Beterbiev's underestimated skills. Um, Now, also, I think a good thing to try to look out for as far as Beterbiev is this. I think um, even though Beterbiev doesn't have like this awesome head movement, he is also able to do well-timed blocks. Now, that is a sorely underestimated skill as well, like blocks and parries. Now, if you're able to kind of effectively block a punch, um, if you're able to effectively block a punch, what most of the time boxers are taught to do is once something hits your hand, you basically just fire back. So if it hits your hand, you fire back. Hit your hand, fire back. Hit your hand, fire back. Um, so I would probably be on the lookout for something like that as well, to just kind of see, what type of how he can transition defense to offense um, fairly quickly. I do think that there is probably going to be some degree of punishment that Beterbiev is actually going to have to take in order to try to win this fight. Bivol certainly is not a pushover. You can ask Canelo. Um, and Bivol also is a very skilled boxer with his well known jab and his better known right hand. I think that he is probably going to wind up eating one of those right hands. I think initially he'll probably take it well, but I do not think that Beterbiev would probably be taking a whole lot of those right hands. I think that he'll probably block and then try to turn defense into offense, as I mentioned before. Um, I do look for Beterbiev to try to attack Bivol's body. Um, there haven't been very many people that have effectively attacked Dmitry Bivol's body, and I think that if he is able to do that with his superb conditioning and also his strength and endurance, he may actually have a shot to provide some trouble for Bivol. I'm not sure how that's actually gonna go, but because Beterbiev has been vulnerable. Brown, I think it was Brown that actually dropped him. Brown wound up dropping him, but of course he got back up, and the rest was pretty much history. Um, I think that if Beterbiev kind of gets into a rhythm to where maybe he can feel out or time or get a feel for B-Ball's punching patterns. Most of the time, B-Ball is actually going to, especially maybe against a fighter that's a little bit shorter, he's going to probably double up on his jab and then throw a very calculated and hard or sharp right hand right after it. If he is able to either slip or effectively smother those particular punches, I think that Beterbiev could get inside of Bivol's body and start working on that particular area, like early on in the fight. And then, of course, if you invest in the body, you get you get returns late, but they're big returns when once they actually happen. Um, I think in order for Beterbiev to actually win, of course, he has to do a lot of body work. I'm also thinking that if he, once he actually does the body work, he is going to have to make sure that he finishes with a left hook. I do not think that Bivol, excuse me, I don't think that Bivol um, entirely raises his right hand up. He may have it like a little low, and if that happens, then if Beterbiev can actually finish with a quick left hook at the end of his combination, he could probably catch Bivol off guard. Um, I'm also thinking that if Beterbiev kind of uh, does an impersonation of Rocky Marciano where he's actually punching shoulders, elbows, things of that nature to kind of help weaken the blocking strength of Dmitry Bivol, then that could probably aid him as well. Um, and he could definitely win on points if that were to happen and Bivol actually kind of wears down. Um, I also I'm also thinking that a hook could be a big factor for Beterbiev, and I think if he's able just to kind of get inside of his straight punches and throw a looping hook or maybe even an uppercut, depending on what position he's actually in, that would be really really effective. Um, Now I'm gonna go ahead and go on to Bivol. Bivol has a lot of variables that could help him win this fight. First and foremost, he's better on his feet um, than Beterbiev, and I think Beterbiev, even though he's had like knee surgery, which is definitely a factor as far as movement. I don't care what kind of athlete you are. Once your knees get worked on, it is not the same. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I think Joe could probably attest to that. Joe could probably tell you that. Now, I'm not saying that's from his personal experience or nothing like that, but I'm sure he's been around some guys that have had like knee surgeries, because I know I have, and I'm on a way lower level than him. I only went to JUCO to play football, but once your knees get operated on, it is your knees or your AC joints or anything else like that. Once that actually gets operated on, you are not the same, like ever. And I know that there's great medical technology now, but it's still just not the same. But I think that movement for B-Ball is going to be key. I also, having said that, believe that if he is able to keep Beterbiev on the outside initially to try to keep him honest and to also frustrate him, to be honest with you, if he does like a Klitschko jab and grab or something like that, then I think that that's to his benefit as well. So, I mean, there are several ways that you could actually win this fight if you're Bivol. Of course, keeping things on the outside, and then when you're actually inside, just kind of effectively clinching, and then once you can just kind of break on the clinch, and then kind of come back in, or if you're clinching, you have that hand free, you can start working. If it's a situation to where Beterbiev is actually just trying to work inside, um, then I would probably throw some looping shots around his guard, just to kind of deter him. I'm thinking that, hey, if he comes in, and of course he's going to have a high guard, you could actually just try and punch around that high guard and then throw an uppercut and sidestep. There are several ways that you could utilize, like your length, and also, of course, your speed. I think that Bivol may be just a slight touch faster than Beterbiev. Now, Beterbiev is actually a lot more quicker and a lot more faster than what people give him credit for. I'm thinking that if it's well timed enough, Beterbiev could actually get a good shot in and could probably make things real bad for Bivol. But I'm thinking if Bivol is smart, he's going to try to keep Beterbiev at bay for quite some time. And I think if and I don't really foresee this happening because I don't think that it's in Beterbiev's personal mentality to be very impatient. But I think if there's an impatient moment to where maybe he rushes in, I think that Bivol could actually catch him with a good right hand and kind of rattle Beterbiev. And I think that if he finds out that he's rattled, I think Bivol could actually do some work on him too. Once again, I think Bivol is just a touch faster, but I think Bivol has very fast hands, especially for that particular weight class, and he is able to jab very well. He has a very good right hand as well, and I think that that could actually cause problems for someone that likes to come in and do damage. Um, I think that yes, if Bivol is actually able to jab, use angles, clinch when necessary, and then on occasion is able to work Beterbiev's body effectively, and then keep him moving around. That could actually serve as a factor against Beterbiev because he's constantly being hit in his midsection. He's constantly having to move. Having said that, and that could effectively slow him down too. So I'm thinking that if Bivol is actually able to use his resources, then he can make it a very long night for Beterbiev. I do not see Beterbiev getting knocked out, or I don't really even see him getting hurt very badly. I'm sure that he could probably get buzzed, but I don't see him actually getting hurt. Yeah, I don't see him getting hurt at all, to be honest with you. I think that he could probably get buzzed at the very worst. Um, I really don't see a knockdown, and I could be dead wrong, but I don't really see a knockdown. Um, really on either side, to be honest with you. Now, I could mess around and say that, and then somebody gets wobbled very badly. Like I think that if I think either one of them could probably get wobbled. Um, I'm not sure who it's gonna be, but now that I think about it, one of them could probably get wobbled a little bit. Um, because I think both men, if they see an opportunity, they are going to mash the gas on the other person. Um, so I think that yes, there may be a scenario where one of them could get wobbled, but I don't really see either one of them really getting knocked down or knocked out. I just think that one may be able to hurt the other, and vice versa. But I'm not sure who that's actually going to be because both men are have pretty solid chins. I know that Beterbiev did have the knockdown, and I don't think that Bivol has actually been knocked down in his career. I could also be wrong about that. Um, but I do think that either one of these men could actually get wobbled in a fight. Um, with that being said, I think the matchup to me, um, you've got strength, smarts, and endurance um, in Beterbiev. You also have skills, smarts, speed, and also strength with Bivol. Um, I think with that being said, yes, to your point, Soul Power, I think that I probably am gonna wind up being one of the many. I think that Bivol could win on points. It would not surprise me, however, if Beterbiev was able to somehow rattle Bivol early and then take the fight from him. But again, I don't see him getting knocked out though. I do see him maybe I do maybe see him getting possibly wobbled if it gets really bad, but I don't see him actually getting knocked out. Um, but yeah, that being said, I think that Bivol may win on points. But to be honest with you, Beterbiev could actually win on points as well. If he does, then what that would mean is that um, Dimitri Bivol probably got wobbled a little bit. Um, yeah, I'm with you on that, Soul Power. That should have happened like 2 or 3 years ago, but the business of boxing and everything else, man. That effectively gets in the way. And shout out to Turkey Al for getting this done. I know that he had something to do with this, um, and I'm very grateful as a boxing fan that there is someone that's actually stepping in and making these fights happen. So, salute to you, Turkey Al, or His Excellency. Let me not be disrespectful. His Excellency. Thank you, His Excellency, Turkey Al. Thank you. Um, Now we're switching sports here from boxing to football. So I'll try to be as brief as I can because there's not a whole lot of Steelers fans in the chat. So my Pittsburgh Steelers unfortunately have lost to the Dallas Cowboys last Sunday night. Very heartbreaking loss. Tough to take, especially since I am a Dallas native who pretty much hates the Cowboys. Uh, I There were some variables that we definitely need to work on. First and foremost, we got to make sure that we have a good passing rhythm on offense. Um, I know that, and salute to your Saints, Soul Power. Um, and then I think that I think that Sunday the continuity was just a little bit off. I think that maybe some nerves were involved, and the reason that I'm saying that is because Justin Fields, um, Justin Fields had been pretty accurate lately, even with the loss to Indianapolis the week before. He was pretty accurate. This week, there was a long pass to Connor Hayward, which is one of our tight ends, and it was just to me, the ball seemed a little too far out, and had maybe a little bit too much juice on it. Hayward had to dive, and of course, if you're an NFL athlete, if that ball hits your hands, you got to catch it. So if there were any blame, then I would probably have to say it was Connor Hayward because he literally was able to put his hands on the ball. He has to complete the job. I know it's a extremely difficult catch, but you're one of the world's best athletes. You got to bring that in. There were some other passes that Fields threw that I think just had way too much juice on it. Like there was a third down pass to George Pickens. Yes, if it's in his catch radius, especially if George Pickens plans on being an elite or great receiver in the NFL, if it's within your catch radius, you do have to catch it. But some of those balls, they just had too much juice on it. Pause. Um, and as a result, it just kind of messed things up as far as like the continuity and timing and rhythm and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, to that point, if everybody's pretty much dropping passes, then yeah, you gotta take a few rotations off the ball. Like you got to make it a little bit more catchable. Now, I'm not saying that you got to float it in traffic because you're not supposed to do that. If you float it in traffic, of course, it's an interception. But what I am saying is that for some of the routes, especially the ones to the sidelines, or overarching routes like corners, or sometimes even like skinny or deep posts, you do have to like put a you do have to put a little bit more touch on it so that way it just kind of drops in as opposed to it just going straight line and then you just gotta you gotta be ready and just try and catch it. um but I just think that maybe the nerves from a Sunday night game, this being a huge matchup, things of that nature, maybe got to him a little bit, and as a result, maybe too much juice was put on the ball. It did not help that the offensive line wasn't playing up to snuff. Unfortunately, we were not able to get a significantly good running game going. Um, as we always plan to do, we try to establish the run first and then have everything work off of that. But unfortunately, that was very limited as far as the success on it, and as a result, we were having to throw a lot more than we wanted to. And then on top of it, throwing more than what we wanted to, we weren't connecting. We were 3 and 12 when the game ended, as far as like third down conversions, which is completely unacceptable. And we definitely need to make sure that we improve upon that. I think that if we are able to just try to make things third and manageable as opposed to third and long, that would actually go a long way. That is probably where the running game, or maybe even the short passing game, comes in. I think that if Arthur Smith actually implements either more zone read plays, which is, of course, and I'm sorry for the man, I'm sorry for the mansplaining, but of course, for our viewers that may not know, what a zone read basically is a quarterback is actually deciding whether or not he's going to hand off the ball to the running back or if he's going to run it himself. So basically, what happens with that is you're going to let the end man on the line of scrimmage for the defense, you're going to let him go. That end man on the line of scrimmage has a decision to make. Is he going to take out the running back? Which, if he does that, the quarterback is going to pull the ball and run himself. Or if he's going to just stay stationary and cut off or contain the edge, what he'll do is he will simply hand it off to the running back, and then the running back runs to try to gain more yardage. I think that if we are able to implement that, especially against a Raiders defense that's not all that great against the run, or supposedly is not all that great against the run, I think that that could help significantly as far as getting our running numbers up. I'm also thinking RPO, which is a run pass option. How that works is this: it's the same concept. But basically, what you're doing is you're actually reading the middle linebacker this time on the defense. And what you're looking for is, once you position yourself to actually hand the ball off to the running back, if that middle linebacker actually comes up aggressively, then you throw the slant to an incoming receiver. If for whatever reason the linebacker just kind of hangs back, then of course you hand the ball off to the running back and you allow them to try to gain yards. I think those two particular plays could help us tremendously, especially against a Raiders defense where I think that you could probably try those things on. So if we're able to try to do that and get those plays run effectively, I think that that's going to make a huge difference as far as us being successful, as far as running the ball. I don't think that us conventionally running the ball, turning it around, doing tosses, especially. Oh my God, we have to stop with the tosses to any of the running backs that we have available. Okay, they didn't work on the other running backs that we actually had besides Najee. They certainly did not work for Najee. So for right now, we need to toss the toss plays. Like, don't do them anymore. If we're going to try to test the outside, what I would recommend is maybe just some wide zone or stretch plays or something of that nature. Now, if we're seeing something in the offensive line during the week that says that they probably can't carry that out very well, then what I would probably recommend is maybe just some outside power plays, which outside power play, and I know that I'm mansplaining. I'm just trying to make sure that our viewers kind of understand what I'm talking about. But what a power play basically is you're going to have two lead blockers. So one of which is actually going to be an offensive lineman, mostly pulling from the other side of the play. So if the play goes right, then usually the left guard that plays on the offensive line is going to pull to the right. There may also be either a tight end that's been motioned into the backfield, a or a fullback, which is a another running back that's placed in front of the actual running back, and then they kind of lead through a hole. If they're going to the right, it's usually an even number. So if it's a, let's just say, oh, okay, well, we're gonna run 22 power. 20 the two hole is gonna wind up being in between the right guard and then the right tackle. So the left guard is gonna come in, go to the outside hip of that right tackle, not right tackle, I'm sorry, right guard, um, and then try to plow a way through um, that particular guard and tackle. The tight end is going to wind up doing the same thing, which of course is the power concept. They're going to overpower anybody that actually comes into that gap. And then the running back's job is, of course, to read those particular blocks and then make sure that he gets as much yardage as he can. Um, I think that if it's executed properly, it is a beautiful play to run. And I think that actually helps highlight Najee's strength, which of course is straight ahead running and being able to push piles once he has momentum. Um, but in order for that power play to be effective, as I mentioned before, we're going to have to wind up doing some, excuse me, we're gonna have to wind up doing like some zone reads, which are option plays, which either the quarterback or the running back actually runs, or the RPOs, which I mentioned before also, which is either going to be a run or a short slant pass, to where we can just kind of keep the chains moving and make things a lot more manageable on third downs. I even think that if we're able to do something like we did last week, which is if we start off by trying to keep the defense honest and do long play action passes, that could actually work in our favor as well. It would add shock value. It would make sure the defense stays honest, and they will not really know what to expect. Um, so if we start off doing that, I think that would be effective as well. I also think that maybe doing short passes on first down to make it more manageable, to make the other downs more manageable, rather, would probably help tremendously. Like if we're able to do maybe small crossing routes, which were maybe 5 to 10 yard routes, we could be able to just effectively move the chains doing that. Depending on what the coverage is, if it's tight coverage, then of course we can't do that. But if it's a little bit looser coverage, what we can do is like bubble screens or regular screens if the defense wants to get more aggressive. There's just a plethora of options that we could use as far as maybe a short passing game to just kind of help substitute for the running game that we're lacking. So it would still help keep defenses honest, and it would also help us just kind of be on time. And what I mean by that is just get good small chunks of yardage, like 4 and 5 yards each play, to where third down is not that difficult. So offensively, that I think that we would probably need to implement a strategy or plan like that in order for us to be successful. The other thing is our defense. I think that if our defense um, gets enough rest because our offense is moving the ball up and down the field and they're chewing a lot of the clock doing so, and actually scoring points, which is more important. If we're actually scoring points off of these particular drives and then we're eating up a lot of clock doing it, and that doesn't give the other offense the opportunity to get the ball, then I think that the defense is probably going to perform a lot better. Keep in mind that even though we did lose to Dallas, we did get 3 turnovers in that particular losing effort, and that defense was out there almost the entire game. So we definitely want to make sure that we have the defense well rested, and I think that they'll if they still play. As far as they are going to have to play a little bit better as far as making sure that the coverages are actually well communicated and more importantly well executed because of the communication being so good. So if it's a situation to where the middle linebacker, who's basically the quarterback of the defense, if he makes a call and just kind of gives everybody coverage assignments, then everybody at that point should know what to do because they've practiced it all week. And even I think even if they just try to go over something like hand signals or something of that nature, just in case there's a lot of crowd noise, I think that would help them tremendously too. So hopefully they are doing that. They are professionals, so I would think that they are. Um, but I think that the communication is probably going to be a lot better as far as just making sure that everyone knows what area they're supposed to be covering, or if it's man coverage, whom they're supposed to be covering. And then we have kind of a better understanding on what we're doing, and that will help us be victorious. Um, I'm also thinking that because we don't have another pass rusher along side TJ Watt, then whoever that other pass rusher is going to have to be effective. That doesn't necessarily mean that they need to get like anything crazy, like, oh, you need to get 2 or 3 sacks. No, that's not realistic. These are basically guys that these are basically guys that we would not use otherwise, um, or else they'd probably be already out there. So we have to make sure that they stay on assignment, and they at least keep the tackle on the other side occupied, to where if TJ is able to get through the double and triple teams that he's going to face, he can be more effective too. I think that if we also get a little bit more creative and have some blitzers come in, maybe on the other side of TJ or on the same side as TJ, that could actually be effective as far as a pass rush as well. Um, I think that Aiden O'Connell, who is or Aiden O, yeah, it's Aiden O'Connell, I believe, who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Raiders. I think that he processes things a little. It's probably going to be a touch too slow. Now, having said that, there may be some opportune times for sacks and maybe even a strip sack. If if he has to actually think for a few moments where he wants to go with the ball. So I think that that's probably going to be key as well. Now, I do not look for the pass rush to be as effective as it once was because of the losses of Alex Highsmith and Nick Herbig, who was pretty much showing his pretty much just being able to kind of hold his own. And if once those guys are actually out, it's going to probably be difficult to maintain a very strong pass rush. But I think that TJ Watt would be a distraction enough for maybe the other guy to try to either get. I would probably say that he would need to get a couple of hurries, a pressure, maybe even a quarterback hit. Um, but that's still asking a lot for someone that, again, if they were that good, they would probably already be out there. But I do think that I think it's important for the quarterback to feel some sort of presence as far as a pass rush, which kind of goes hand in hand with the defensive backfield. I think as long, again, as the coverages are communicated properly, I think that we should have no problems against a Devontae Adams-less Oakland Raiders receiving core. Now, I will probably warn my fans to look out for my fellow Steeler fans, rather, to look out for the tight end. That particular tight end from Georgia is good. And he actually almost had a triple digit day last week. So I think that we need to be careful as far as him being able to kind of get revved up. We've had our fair share of problems with tight ends. So I think that we need to really be cognizant and aware of that. I think as long as we're able to just kind of manage things and make sure that things just don't get out of hand defensively, I think that we'll be okay. Um, Now, however, having said all of that, I'm not picking us to win. And the reason that I am not picking us to win is because until we are able to consistently do the things that we need to do, and what I mean by that on offense is to make sure that we're able to keep the chains moving, eat a lot of clock, and score a significant amount of points. And when I'm saying a significant amount of points for this offense, I'm talking about 20 points or better. Okay, 20 points or better are effective for this offense. Okay, so if we're able to score 20 or more points on this offense, I think that we have a good chance of winning. If we do not, then we may not win. Um, but I'm thinking that if we're able to do that on offense, and I'm sure that our defense in effect would probably be able to maintain a lot better because they're not out on the field as much, then we'll have a better showing. And I think that there is a good chance that the Pittsburgh Steelers could win. But having said that, I think my Steelers need to show that they're able to consistently move the ball on offense and actually get good stops on defense, especially third downs, which have been problematic, excuse me, for the past 2 weeks. So if we are able to make sure that we get offenses off the field on third down when we're playing defense, and make sure that we stay on the field on offense on third downs, then I think that we do have a shot at winning this game. But until that happens consistently, I'm going Oakland Raiders. If I have to do a score, I think the first thought that came into my mind was 24-20, not Oakland Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders. So, we may have to suffer a 3-game losing skid to some teams that we probably should have beat, to be quite honest with you. So until something actually changes with my Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm still going to be in there with them, even though I'm picking them to lose. I'm a very loyal supporter of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I'm also realistic. So until we're able to kind of show improvement on those areas, Again, I have the Oakland Raiders winning. Not Oakland Raiders, it's Las Vegas. Las Vegas Raiders winning 24-20. Thank you all so much for tuning in to It's Just Me, hosted by Brent Fox. I also want to make sure that I shout out my brother Soul Power, aka Gamed Up Kennels. He's on YouTube. Please check out his content. Please also check out my brother I Am Trill Will's content. He does all kinds of content. He does political content. He does boxing content. He does gaming content. Uh, Pretty much at this point, you name it, he can do it. So yes, please check out my brother I Am Trill Will on YouTube every day, because he's literally on every day. And certainly, I cannot go on without mentioning my brother, Coach 67 Sports TV. He has a variety of shows, one of which is his show. Excuse me, that comes on Saturdays on all social media platforms. Usually the release is around 3 p.m. Central Standard on all social media platforms. I particularly watch it on YouTube. He also does a show, which is today, Thursday. I think it's I don't want to say it's Coach's Corner. It's Coach's Playbook. That's what it is. Him and my other brother Cadillac Red, who has several pieces of content as well that I would like for you all to check out. That comes on probably around this time on YouTube, and they actually discuss them because they're real life coaches. They actually discuss coaching and its different variables as far as just kind of leading children to victory as far as flag football and then actual football. Um, I also would recommend checking out my brothers, uh, JB, Joe Townsend, Coach 67 Sports TV, and occasionally myself on the Southern Baller Show. Usually that comes on YouTube. That is usually around 3:30 p.m. on Sundays, and again, it's on YouTube. Uh, Jared does a whole lot of phenomenal content that's based off of football. Um, I haven't, I haven't witnessed a better show overall as far as just covering football, um, other than my brothers. Like, to be honest with you, because they cover HBCU football, they cover the NCAA, they also cover the NFL as well to some degree. What they're doing over there at the Southern Baller Show is very impressive, and I'm very fortunate to be a part of that. So thank you all for including me with that, because that's gonna be like almost the football version of ESPN on YouTube. So, those guys, yeah, please support the Southern Baller Show. Usually 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Sundays on YouTube. I think I've been long-winded enough. I'm really finna get out of here. Thank y'all so much for supporting. I'll holla at you.